Hey guys, Monster here, and today I'm going to give a quick tutorial on how to shade in Adobe Illustrator CC 2017. So, I just opened up a quick 1920 by 1080 document right here, and I just want to kind of explain how I go through my process of shading. It's nothing special, and to be honest with you guys, I don't have any special technique. I just kind of wing it when I shade, but I can show you some tips on how to make your shading look even and, you know, kind of unite together and make it kind of balanced, if that makes sense. So I do get a lot of comments on how I shade, and people ask me how do I shade, how could they shade like me. I mean, pretty much it's simple. I will give you an example from my XXX Tentacion portrait I made. The shading on this was very simple, and pretty much what you do is imagine a light source. Alright, so for this portrait, I imagined a light source in front of his face. As you can see, the highlights go on the bridge of his nose and his chin, where his face really kind of pops out. If that makes sense, I'm trying to explain it the best way possible without getting carried away. But as you can see, like, so the facial features that are very defined, that's the word for it, defined. The ones that are defined are highlighted, like his chin and his nose, because they, you know, they are contoured, and the shadows really go where the light isn't. So let's, you know, with the light still in front, keep that in mind. The shadows will be on the sides of his face towards the back because there's no light back there. All the light's coming from, you know, the direct face. And also there can be simple shadows like on his ears to define the folds and wrinkles of his ears, and under his neck to represent that shadow, and separate his head from his neck to give that definition. So all these were simple shadows. I didn't do too much shading up here, just kind of for the hair. I messed up there, honestly. I'd never realized that until now. But I did get a comment on this, and overall, it wasn't too difficult. You do it yourself. I will give you another visual example real quick. And imagine a sun, alright? So let's say you have a sun on your workpiece. So you're going to take that as your light source. Now with that as your light source, you're going to keep that in mind. We're going to make a quick rectangle. Let's make this a different color real quick. So now let's say this rectangle, you're gonna want to shade it. So you can, even if you're shading and you're new to shading and you want to try to be, you know, as precise as possible, you can visually add this light source in here. I used to do it while I was drawing, like with hand drawing with pencils in my sketchbook. I would draw a light source just as a kind of reminder on where the light is coming from. So with that in mind, you would make shadows and highlights depending on that light source. So that light is coming right there, so it would highlight that part of the rectangle. I am going to make this a different color. I apologize real quick. I'm going to make that a green. Nope, way too green. Let's make that a softer green like that. And we would bump down the opacity, I would say, to like 30 or something. And that's a highlight right there. And you can, you know, it's not perfect because it's just a tutorial, but you can always round it and smooth it and stuff like that. But that is a highlight, and that highlight goes right there because that's where the sun is hitting. Now, the shadow would obviously go on the other side because there's no light down there. You know, unless you have a light source down there, you won't have any light coming. So you just bump down the opacity on that one too, and there would be your shadow. And you can smooth that just like the other one if you want. You know, this is just a tutorial, but that's just kind of basic right there. That's all it is, just white and black. Always use white and black, because if you ever need to change the color, it'll always match. So let's say I want to change this again like I did before to blue. It'll still have the shading, because if you keep these blue, then if you change this to green, then it'll have blue shadows and highlights. So you always want to, if possible, keep it black and white. And always keep this light source in mind. I mean, you can even draw rays if you want, like as a sun beating down, or you can just keep it there. You can keep it small, keep it large, but always just remember where it is. And so, like if I want to keep it on top, just another example, the highlight would be on top like this. I'll make that white real quick to represent a highlight. So the highlight would be on top like this. You can make that 30 opacity and smooth that out a bit. And for the shadow, same thing. And on a rectangle, especially like this, you can just copy and paste and reflect it just like that, and add it in. If it would like to snap for me, that would be great. Right there. And that's your shadow. And it's just wherever you move your light source is where you make the shadows and highlights. This is a very good visual for people trying to learn shadows and highlights. If you ever want to kind of base your work off of that, it's a really amazing tool you can use. I mean, it's very simple. Just draw a little circle, draw a little sun, whatever helps you. This is what helps me if I ever like am stuck. If I was stuck on this one, I would just like visualize a sun or like a light coming right here in front of his face, and so that also determined the background shadow right there, how there's a little offset. And that was pretty much it for highlights and shadows. That's all I follow by. I mean, people, I don't know if you're expecting more or less. Sorry if I let you down, but most of it I just wing it, and then whatever comes out of it is what comes out of it, and that's what all my art is. I hope this helped you. If not, leave a comment, and I always try to respond to every comment if everybody's asking for help. Feedback's appreciated. I don't do many tutorials because I'm not very good at teaching people. Just like this tutorial, I mean, there's nothing special to my shading. I just kind of do it. And if you like this video, if this helped you, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll wrap it up here. Have a nice day, guys.